today we're gonna get back into the world of the AKs, and I've got something that I'm bringing you today. Is a gun I've had for quite a while. I've just never really done any videos on it, and that is the Arsenal SLR104fr. So just a quick rundown. I'm sure everyone already knows plenty about this rifle. It's a Bulgarian manufactured crank, which I know crank's not an actual designation, but that's what everyone calls them. So that's what we're going to call it. It's a lot easier than saying AKS-74U every time. This is, like I said, manufactured in Bulgaria by Arsenal, imported Arsenal Las Vegas, distributed through KVAR. They're all basically the same conglomerate, corporate conglomerate. This one comes as a 16-inch rifle, which has got this fake PBS style barrel cover. I haven't SBR'd this yet. At some point I probably will. It just honestly doesn't get a whole lot of use. I mostly got it because at the time these came out, they were an excellent value. I mean, anyone who's into AKs, a crank is obviously one of your ultimate or must-haves, I guess, if you're a 5.45 guy. But when these came out, I mean, people are paying $1,500 at for a good deal for a crank kit, just parts kit, no barrel receiver, still have to have it built. Even some upwards of $2,000. These came to the market around $1,250-ish, $1,300 depending. So they were an excellent value, complete import, factory import, Bulgarian built crank for, almost half the price of, probably actually half the price for sure of what a complete parts kit built would have cost. This one I haven't really done much to. I have an Ultimac, I just haven't put it on. I need to put that and micro dot or something, RMR or something on here. This one I did install the let's see if you can see that, the Tula ribbed rolled strut 4.5 millimeter triangle stock. It's got a Zenit extended charging handle, because these cranks, the actual charging handle is smaller than on a standard AK, so it's a little bit harder to get on. This just makes it easier. This one still has the stock shitty Arsenal 2-stage trigger. I mean, it's not horrible, it's usable, but there's a lot better options out there. And let's see, a Russian sling. And at the time, the Magpul K2 Plus grips weren't being made for AKs yet. So I had this Magpul MOE Plus, the rubberized. Actually, I don't know if they make the rubberized K2s or not. But anyways, they didn't have the K2s for this when I bought this. US Palms I run a lot. I really like the actual feel of this, but this, US Palms, are about the two main grips I run. Other than that, it's a pretty stock rig. I always thought it was neat the way that cranks break down. The hinge dust cover, pretty cool. And we got a little stubby piston, and the way the upper handguard is retained is kind of neat. You just got that little detent there that comes out and holds it down, which kind of makes for a wobbly upper handguard. I mean, it doesn't bother me. That could be remedied when you build it on this rear sight block if it's pushed a little forward and pinned when it's built, but it would make it harder to take down, which, I mean, it's not a big deal. You could shim that if you really cared that much. So I wanted to do just a little bit of a close-up and show some of the differences in the cranks and other AKs. Starting off, you know, with like an AKS or an AK105, and this isn't an actual AK105 though, it's an AKS-74 with the combo block basically. But you know, the rear end 4.5 millimeter trunnions are going to be the same. Cranks, I don't believe originally had optics rails. This Arsenal comes with one, which with the rear bias RS regulate, you could actually run a dot back here, or really anything. Like I said earlier, the charging handle is actually shorter on the crank, and then your rear sight block on the crank is just a hinge, where the sight is on the dust cover. And you've got the Battle Zero, which is like 0 to 300, I believe, and a 4 to 500, real basic rudimentary sight. I think that's pretty optimistic to think you'll be shooting 400 to 500 yard engagements with this thing. I mean, it's possible, easy, but highly unlikely you would be choosing the crank if you were going, planning on going into that kind of scenario. Up next, the hand guards are another big difference. The hand guards on the crank, the lower hand guard especially, is a lot shorter. You've got at least another good inch or more length on the standard AK lower hand guard. So you have, not much real estate to hold on to here. The upper hand guards are actually pretty similar. I don't think they're the exact same dimension. I could be wrong. I think it might be a tad shorter, but they're, very similar. So when you're holding it, the upper hand guard, you've got about the same space. It's just a lot less on bottom to hold. Like on all my AKs, I've got some 3M tape. Just gives you a little bit better traction, especially if you're wearing gloves. The front sight blocks on these, on the cranks, basically where the gas port is, where your piston is, directly above it is the front sight tower. On the 100 series or the combo block, where the gas port and the piston is, the sight tower is forward of that. In all honesty, I think the AK105 or AK105, clone-ish type rifles are a better option. Really, I mean, with the crank, with the booster on it, you're going to end up about right there. This with a booster, or, whatever muzzle device you run, you'll end up about right there, which, it's about 3-4 inches difference maybe, and you're going to get a lot more use, I think, out of this rifle that's comparable in size and maneuverability to this. I mean, the cranks are iconic guns. That's mainly why I got it, because it's just something I wanted in my collection. And here's another cool thing. This is a Tula brown, not a plum mag. It's actually brown. I believe they were manufactured for crank kits, but I just got lucky and happened to find this one. It's probably one of my favorite mags out of my 74 mags. Here's another cool one. It's a beaver barf, is what I call it. Like an early Bakelite. It's got the real, like wood impregnated look to it. they're not super rare, but they're not, you know, really common either, and they go for a fair price. But that's another one of my favorites. But all in all, Arsenal SLR 104s are excellent rifles. They're in pretty high demand right now. The whole market's so crazy with everything, but the price these things are fetching is pretty impressive. I had actually thought about letting one of them go just because I've slowly drifted away from AK collecting as much. But I don't know. I might end up hanging on to them. But I just wanted to show this to you guys and give you a quick look. Take care.